Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters on BET. Let's just jump right into it. We are on season 2, episode 10. So we are in the wake of Alonzo catching Maurice outside of his job. So he's there, and Maurice is just trying to get out of trying to escape the situation because we know what happened last time. He was face to face with Alonzo, and Alonzo claims he's there just to check on Maurice, but he's really there just to rub it in his face that he beat his ass, and to rub it in his face that I'm really not obeying the restraining orders. That's that is a real and actual problem with the legal system. Y'all have these restraining orders and no way to enforce them. Another story for another day, but yeah, so he just blatantly disregarded the restraining orders. Maurice is trying to leave. He's like, I'm finna go in my car. I don't got time for this, and also I got somewhere to be. And Alonzo's like blocking him, not letting him leave. Right, so he doing the whole macho thing, like, I'll beat your ass, nigga, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Just talking cash money shit. And Maurice is just, you can tell, like, he's kind of afraid, but he's also ready for Alonzo this time around. So, Alonzo wants to talk to Maurice, and he wants to, blame Maurice. He wants to tell Maurice that it's his fault that he went to jail, it's his fault for being gay, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's his fault that he got his ass beat within an inch of his life because of his choices in life. Right. And at this point, Maurice is like, he's ready. He's ready to go toe to toe with Alonzo. And he's just listening to all this macho shit that Alonzo's got going on, and he's just done. He's done with the situation. He's no longer interested in being afraid of Alonzo, and he tells him like, okay, I'm going to tell everything that Alonzo's saying. He has a rebuttal for it, and you can see that he's gaining his confidence in this interaction because he realizes like Alonzo was a whole lot of talk. He was about that action last time, but this time he's more interested in like rubbing the shit in Maurice's face as opposed to actually doing something. So Maurice is like, all right, bring it on. Do what you're gonna do to me. I'm ready for you this time. This last time I had a waist trainer on and heels, I couldn't really get to you like I needed to. I'm ready this time. Square up, basically. And Alonzo is again more interested in talking and fighting. And Maurice is like, all right, you disregard your restraining order. And he's like, I'm about to call the cops. He takes Maurice's phone and he tells Maurice, like, basically his whole theory for being there is he needs Maurice to drop the charges because they're trying to charge him with the hate crime. Now, we all know with the current climate of America or whatever, any old thing you can get charged. Well, any old thing we can get charged for a hate crime. Not nobody else, just us. We get charged with a hate crime for. So he wants to intimidate Maurice into dropping the charges against him. But Maurice is like, no, you should have kept your hands to yourself. You should have left me the fuck alone. And no, I'm not dropping shit. So they going back and forth. And Alonzo was kind of backing down because he sees that Maurice is more willing to stand up to him this time. So he's talking, he's like, all right, I ain't even want to talk no more. Like, what we about to do? And Alonzo swings and he misses, and then Maurice uppercuts his ass, and then they bam and do whatever. So basically, he beats the shit out of Alonzo. He beats the shit out of Alonzo and kind of leaves him leaking on the pavement. And now he has to go. He ain't got time. He been fighting all his life. A lot of people in the community have been fighting their whole life because they've, been fighting people for a lot of just for being gay. So, there is a stereotype that they're a strong set of people and they will fight. And Maurice proved that in this moment, not so much the last encounter, but he had some obstacles. But he redeemed himself by beating the shit out of Alonzo. Round of applause. I was proud of him for standing up for his goddamn self. Moving on. All right, so Sabrina and Danny are at the restaurant. They're waiting on the other girls. They're bashing each other's men, and Sabrina has to admit that she doesn't think that Calvin did meth, but she'll know because of the drug test that she persuaded Maurice to get him to take. And Danny knows for a fact that Sabrina has looked into Calvin's account, so she's wondering, okay, like, why does he need to move with Maurice? How much money is in his account? I know you don't look how much. And Sabrina's trying to act all naive, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't look. But then she comes out and it's like, okay, I did look and it wasn't that much. Ugh. Which makes sense. He did say that he is struggling, which is why he needed a roommate. He didn't say it was forever. He needs a roommate because he gave all of his life savings to his dad. So, it makes perfect sense to me. All right, so, not Sabrina. Um, she did say that she didn't at first want to tell Danny the amount in Calvin's account because Danny's is her person. When she gets mad, she tells all the business. And I understand what you're saying, Sabrina, because I hate people like that. When you mad, just be mad. Don't go telling everybody's business to everybody just because you mad. That's your problem. And then when you're not mad again, you got to go back and rectify my business that you done told. Because that's a surefire way to get your head monkey stumped in my opinion. Don't tell my business. My business is my business. If I trust you with information, shut the fuck up when you get mad. Duh. All right. So, Danny's also proud of the drug test ploy that Sabrina did. She knows this is a page out of her book, and she's proud of her. Okay, Danny. All right. Gary is outside of Andy's apartment, and his lawyer calls him and asks him, where you at? I heard you out here acting a fool. Leave that girl alone. Blah 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 blah. He's outside of Andy's apartment, just sitting there, just steeping in his anger. And Gary's lawyer agrees to meet him at Gary's lawyer's house. He agrees to go there to calm down, to try to defuse the situation. So that is where he's headed next. Back at the restaurant, Karen shows up. She orders a round of drinks, and everybody wants to know why she's in such a good mood, which is crazy to me because for your friends, your best friends, to wonder why you in a good mood, sis, that means you ain't never really in a good mood. Which, girl, get your life. Why are you more unhappy than you are happy for your friends to deem your good mood as a sign of caution? I don't know. But, what's her face? Karen tells them that she was kind of thrown off guard by Aaron asking her, that she needs some petty cash to have on hand. Now the other girls wants to know if he got uncles, brothers, and cousins, etc. Which, okay, cool. What if he does have uncles and brothers and cousins and whatnot? That won't do nothing for your life because that don't mean they're gonna treat you like Aaron treats Karen. But in theory, I guess. Whatever. Yeah. She tells them about the preacher, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's realizing that Karen is changing, hopefully for the better, as it relates to her being in a relationship with Aaron. Okay, girl. Wonderful. Zach is at Fatima's. He calls her and tells her that he's just sitting there with nothing to do, waiting on her to get back, and that he's gonna go back to the house that they're working on to put in some more sweat equity in order to, pay his way into the buy back the block type program. And then that's when I realized, I forgot he was invited to the shindig. If I can remember, Andy invited him, so I'm not sure why he's there, which I guess makes sense. I'm glad he's not, because he would have been the only dude in attendance. But I do remember Andy inviting him as Fatima's plus one, so I don't know why he wasn't there. I'm glad he's not. Because that would have been a whole another can of worms between Karen and Fatima. Speaking of Karen and Fatima, it looks like they're real, buddy-buddy. They're kind of warming up to Fatima. I don't know how much warm you're going to be when you find out she's the one that's grooming Zach into the man that you always wanted him to be. But we'll see how that goes. All right, so Fatima finally gets to the restaurant. Sorry, guys, I'm itching my eye. Fatima shows up to the restaurant, and her and Karen, make a connection over hair. She needs a new hairstylist. They make that link up. All right, cool, wonderful. Back over in Gary's demented world, he shows up to the lawyer's house, and he's complaining about his money. He wants his money back. He wants his money back. He's just ranting about things that ain't even true. Claims that Andy is spending her money on Paris and all these other dudes, just kind of creating this whole world in his mind of all the things that Andy is doing to him. And Ellis is the lawyer. Ellis says that he keeps pulling strings to get. He said something interesting. He said that he keeps pulling strings to get Gary out of jail. How many times have you been to jail, Gary? And Ellis, how many times have you been in the law to get him out of jail? Leave his goddamn ass in jail, because he obviously has an anger problem, and he probably be beating bitches up. That's just my guess. Because why you got to keep getting him out of jail? And why does he keep going? You can't get me out if I don't go. So, Gary claims that he's calm, but it's kind of like a passive type. Yeah, I'm calm. Sure, I'm calm. But he's inundated with the fact that Andy is doing all these things to him when Andy is doing absolutely nothing but living her life at this point. But he claims he's about to go back to the hotel and lay down and trying to put Ellis out the car, which we already know that's just a ploy to hurry up and get back to Andy. But Andy's currently on her way to the restaurant, so I don't know how that's going to work. So we know that's the lie of the century, but we'll go along with it. And Gary, if you say so, child. Back at the restaurant, Karen is calling Andy to figure out where she at. She pops up out the shadow from somewhere in the restaurant. Meanwhile, Danny is talking about how Karen is dressing all conservative now while she's over there talking to Andy on the phone. And I guess she just kind of notices the change in Karen's speech and Karen's demeanor and Karen's everything now that she's with Ellis. Don't know if that's going to be a good or bad thing, but it's good for now. We'll take it as is. We'll take it at face value. All right, so Andy finally makes this ever elusive announcement that she got her job back. Girl, you could have texted me that. You didn't have to get me all dressed up and out here and all riled up over I got my job back. So we all got jobs and we get them back every day. We lose them. We go to new ones. We complain about them. You ain't need to make no big deal out of it, but we'll go with it. She finally announces that she got her job back and the raise and the promotion and the settlement. Now, I don't think she ever told them the amount, which, very good, Andy. I commend you on that, because keep your money to yourself. Don't give out all your cards at the dinner table, sis. Just tell them we settled on a number, and that's that. All right, so she also gives a special thanks to Fatima for being her ride or die through this whole situation, and you can kind of see how Danny's giving her the side eye, like, all right, bitch, like, we've been your friend for a lot longer. Don't put too much on it. Like Fatima just getting in the girl group. Break it down. So yeah. Then the whole cloud of Gary's existence shows up to dinner, and Andy hurriedly moves past that topic because she don't want nothing to do with it. She just want to celebrate getting her life back on track and moving on, which I would as well. If I had been through as much as you've been through with Gary, I'd either be locked up, committed, or on with my life as well. So let's just move on with life. Definitely agree with that. I just put a note in here that everybody has a man at home except for Andy, which kind of seems to always be the case. Shantae's always got a man at home except Andy, and I'm sorry for you, because you can't seem to really hang on to one. Your track record ain't that good, but you're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be all right, Andy. It's gonna be okay. All right. Sabrina is forced to tell the group about Calvin's issues and the supposed meth, and wanting to move in and having to relive that whole spiel again. Sabrina is indecisive as usual about how she wants to proceed with Calvin. And this is just based on the fact that she wants no questions. She don't want no nothing. She would rather ask her friends to do her dirty work for her or vent to her friends instead of asking the man herself. Child, I ain't got time. I ain't got the energy for Sabrina and her shenanigans right now. But she did say she's really afraid to waste her time, which is a good point. Like, if you're afraid to waste your time, you're doing exactly what you're afraid of. You're wasting your time by way of not asking questions that need to be asked, not saying things that need to be asked, allowing your friends to make decisions on your relationship, and then having to go back and apologize for the decisions you made based on your friends' input. So you're wasting a lot of time, actually. So your fear has become reality. I don't know if nobody told you yet, but I'm here for you. All right. So, moving on. Fatima shares her story with typically keeping men in rotations and, just living her best life, girl. Ain't nothing wrong with dating more than one person. I didn't say sleeping with, I said dating. And everybody's just giving her advice about men. Don't know how when nobody has a stable anything currently, but girl, y'all give advice. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, they spot Calvin at the restaurant with some lady eating dinner. We haven't determined who this lady is or what her relationship is with Calvin, but Now Sabrina's uncomfortable. She got an attitude. Child. Boo. Goodbye. Zach is back on the job site. Hayden shows up questioning him about his work shoes because it's the same work shoes he saw at Fatima's house. And now they're in the midst of a pissing match. Blah blah blah. Whoop de whoop. Don't nobody care. Hayden, why does it matter? If she had a line of work boots in the corner, what business is that of yours, sir? From what I understand, y'all only knocked each other down one time. What in the fatal attraction is going on here? Hayden, go about your business. I thought you had liked Andy. Stupid ass. I got upset about it because, sir, don't clock nobody else's house. Mind your business. Moving on. Sabrina tells the girls that Calvin wanted her to commit, but she ain't ready, obviously. Then she spills, I thought I had already said that. She spilled everything about her, not only her business, but Danny's business with the booty bandit bartender. And turns out that Danny and Fatima have a Mr. Wilton in common. So Fatima has now made a connection with Danny and with Karen and with Andy. So she's connected to 3 of these 4 women somehow. So I'm going to assume she's going to become a integral part of the girl group in future seasons, episodes, however this is going to go. Interesting to see how she'll fit in because she's a little more straight to the point, no nonsense. Danny is as well, but Danny is by way of comedy. She is by way of making people laugh. So I don't know how straightforward Fatima, take it or leave it, how that's going to fit in this girl group dynamic. Because you can't get too many women in a circle and think that we all going to play nice. So we'll see how that goes. Especially when Zach comes into the little triangle situation. Well, it becomes further into the little triangle situation. So we'll see. All right. So Calvin stops by the table. Energy becomes awkward. Moment passes. Now Sabrina's sitting there with an attitude because Andy keeps hinting that she got a bunch of money and the rounds on her. Sabrina is now has an attitude with Calvin, and she's gonna take it out on the rest of the girl group. She blurts out that Andy's spending Gary's money. She can get him his money back. Blah blah blah. She got a big settlement. Mind your business, girl. You seem to be the one that's spilling tea when you get an attitude. You ain't the only. Danny ain't the only one in the group doing that, huh? Okay. All right. So, wrapping this episode up in a nice little bow, Andy gets home and calls Paris. She apologizes for how she left his mom's house that time. And somehow or another, I think I kind of blinked for a second too long, and Gary kind of popped up out of the shadows, I think. Okay, so Andy calls Paris and apologizes to him. And I think once she got off the phone with leaving the voicemail to Paris, Gary pops out of the shadows. And then she lets Paris in the house. So now Paris and Gary are face to face. Well, Paris is who Gary thinks is spending all of his money. So now he is confronted with the person that he thinks is taking Andy away from him. Interesting. So, and then that ends the episode. So, definitely we'll find out what happens next week. I'm sure that Gary and Paris are going to get into a pissing match. If not a pissing match, it'll be a little scuffle or whatnot. Gary, go back to jail. He gonna go back to jail because, sir, you probably out on probation. No, the charges are probably dropped, so you probably not out on not probation, bond. I don't know nothing about the legal system, child. I ain't been in. He ain't out on bond, but he'll be back soon. Cause what is you doing popping out the shadows of people's houses? Do you want to get stabbed? Do you want to get shot? Okay. All right. So that sums up episode 10, season 2 of SISTAS. Yeah, so we'll see what happens in the next one. That's all I got. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.